Kamusta na kayo?
Hola, hola, everyone.
My name is Nico Blitz.
And I am Jackie Ramirez.
And this is the Mexipino Podcast, everybody. Welcome back for episode 2.
Yes, this is episode 2. I'm ready.
Yeah, feels good, right?
Yeah.
It was cool because I was looking at our statistics and to know that like over 100 people have already downloaded the podcast on streaming platforms. I got to give us a round of applause once again. That's pretty lit.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Because the last time you told me it was just about, I want to say 70 something. I didn't know I hit like 100.
It's definitely at 100 or around 100 at the very least.
I'm so happy just to see the reception that we've had.
Yeah, me too.
Since episode 1, and it's only been a week, and it's insane, guys. It really, really is insane. We want to thank everybody for listening to us and all the feedback too.
Yeah. We definitely want to say thank you, each and every one of you, for listening and tuning in. If you did not get a chance to listen to episode 1, however, Jackie and I were talking about our individual careers in the music industry. Or entertainment industry at that. I'm a DJ and entertainment host. And Jackie herself, she's also an entertainment host.
Yes, I am.
And there was actually a part in the podcast where we were trying to figure out the most prestigious job for a Mexican American.
Yeah.
So, for example, in Filipino-American history, the most prestigious job you can get is to be a doctor or a lawyer. Jackie and I, we went to Lake Arrowhead with her brother and sister-in-law over this past weekend, and we were having this discussion, and we actually came down to the conclusion for the most prestigious job for Mexican-American males.
Yeah, so we were having this talk on the way over there, and, our podcast came up because they had both listened to it, and my brother actually had he actually is the one that told us that, the most prestigious job, I guess, you can have in Mexican-American culture is being a cop.
Which I get it.
Yeah. And now that I think about it, when he said that, he started explaining, it to our generation of our parents, I would say that most men try and go for that. They try and be a cop. I know some of my friends who are in law enforcement. And now that I think about it, I don't know why I didn't think about it, I never really, I guess because I didn't see it that way. Not to say that it's not a prestigious job. It is, and it's a very big deal because of all the training and the academy that they have to go through. But it didn't really click until my brother said it.
Well, I said I get it because I do see a lot of Mexican Americans picking up that particular job, being a police officer. But babe, from your perspective, why do you think it is the prestigious job for a Mexican American male?
I think it's because it has to do with there could be different factors. I think it's just such a job title of authority. I think it puts us on a scale to change what we don't like about our communities and being that change. Also, this is where it kind of could, for me, I would say it gets a little bit, cultural, where I think it's more of a, machismo type of thing. I think that a lot of males go into that because the authority could be a really good thing, but it could also be a really I know I'm the shit type of thing.
Okay.
I see it both ways. And not to say that my family or friends that are in law enforcement are like that. No way. But I can see, some of that seeping through the job title.
I guess it makes sense because Filipino Americans and especially, Mexican Americans, especially over here in Los Angeles, have suffered from a shit ton of discrimination.
Yes, of
especially
course.
from law enforcement. So I guess when you are put in the position where you can
be a part of the change.
Be a part of the change at the very least, I guess I could see where it is prestigious in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like I said, you're changing your communities by fixing what was part of the problem for your community, And now a lot of people there's a lot of judgment when you see a Mexican. There's a lot of judgment when you see a Mexican in like an old school type of car. And I think that now cops who are Mexican American and see that don't rush to that judgment because we are part of the change.
I feel it. So let me ask you this. Is this a job that is, I wouldn't say forced upon, but is this a job that a lot of parents kind of push their kids toward in Mexican American culture?
Well, I wouldn't say, I haven't seen anybody push towards it. As far as anybody that I know who is in law enforcement and is Mexican American, I haven't seen them push towards it. I have seen it be like kind of like a thing where it's just like, okay, you know that they're going to take this route. And I really don't know why I didn't think about this in episode 1, but I actually wanted to go through the academy in high school.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wanted to go through the academy in high school, and I talked to my uncle about it because he had gone through it, and he kind of told me, he's like, yeah, you know what, I don't want you to go through that. Like, he stopped me in my tracks. My dad stopped me in my tracks. I thought about joining the military for a quick second, and I don't know why. I really don't know why, but I know that I wanted to go into the academy for sure for, I would say, a good maybe like 6 months that I was really trying to kind of do it. And my uncle stopped me in my tracks. He's like, I don't want you to do that.
Do you know why though?
I think from what I remember, it was kind of like, I don't want you to experience what I experienced type of thing, regardless of what he went through in the academy and what he, what he experienced on the job after that. I think he thought it would be a very tough time for me to kind of adapt to that because not because I'm a woman, but just because he didn't want me to go through that. He wanted to protect me in that sense.
I get you. Well, shouts out to your uncle. One time for the one time.
I'm very happy I didn't go into the academy.
Oh, man. But, the reason why I asked that is because I feel like for the most part in Filipino-American culture, the idea of being a doctor or a lawyer is definitely pushed on our generations.
I can definitely see that. It's very apparent.
You can see it.
Yeah.
What do you mean you can? How?
It's very apparent because you've told me, you're like, well, yeah, every Filipino is basically like a nurse or a doctor or this and that. And when you told me that, that's when I kind of really started to see it. It's just a very common, career path. And I never really understood why until I started dating you.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a very common career path for Filipino Americans. And it sucks because a lot of Filipino Americans end up growing up thinking those are the only two ways to go. Mm-hmm. And especially with the Philippines having basically nothing but doctors and lawyers and people with high paying positions, it sucks when parents, especially in the United States, push that on their kids because for the most part, I feel like it forces the kids and this generation and the following generations into boxes of what you're supposed to do, which ultimately messes with your mental health.
Absolutely. It definitely does mess with your mental health because, like you said, you're trapped within this box and you're confined to know this and to do this, and I want you to do this and I'm pushing you to do this, and it's just it's like suffocating almost too.
It's super smothering. That's what I don't like about it because I mean, I'm all for, try to make as much money as you can, whatever. But when it comes to the point to where you have parents or anybody just pushing like, you need to do this, you need to do that, otherwise you're not going to be successful. Like, I mean, fortunately, my parents did not put me in that situation. They're just like, do whatever you want, be happy, just make sure you're able to make money for yourself and make a living for yourself. And I said, all right, cool. But
not everyone gets that opportunity and that support from their parents and their family. And it really does suck because, like I said, it messes with you and it can really push people to a really bad place sometimes. granted, not everyone will get to a bad place, but everyone will feel a certain type of way mentally and emotionally because of it.
Yeah. If I could, I would like to, I guess, kind of talk about my sister's situation right now. Shouts out to my sister Sabrina. I love her to death.
We love you, Sabrina.
Yeah, we love you, Sabrina. So when I had asked her, maybe a little bit before pandemic, she had gone on this path to become an LVN. And so my sister ended up taking this extensive 2-year program in which she would basically knock out all the requirements for her to be an LVN. It cost a shit ton of money. I want to say maybe like 20 grand or something like that, right? It cost a lot of money. And so when I had asked her a while ago, I said, hey, so why exactly do you want to get this job? And she said, man, Kuya, I just want to make a shit ton of money. And I said, all right. I mean,
I believe that's what Sabrina said.
But, you know, one thing I love about Sabrina, my sister, is that she is completely honest. So if her goal is to, very honest. So if her goal is to make money out of it, then I'm like, all right, cool. Not that necessarily leads to complete happiness, but as long as it's something that you want to do and you know what the end goal is for that particular thing, then I'm happy for it.
It's like you respect it, not just that, but regardless of what you're talking about. If you're honest with yourself and you're honest with others, you can't like knock it. You got to respect it. It's cool.
I could not knock it one bit, but the crazy thing was that, now my sister is in a position where she's not necessarily liking her job as much as she would like. And so she and I actually had a conversation a couple months ago, and she sought out some advice from me. She was saying like, hey, I feel like I might not want to do this for the rest of my life. What do you think, my next best route should be? And so, I told her like, maybe you should finish this up. Maybe it's just like the beginning of the quarter type jitters, and maybe you just don't want to do it because it's like brand new to you right now.
Right.
But a big part of her concern was with my grandparents, and she was like, well, what do you think like grandma and grandpa is going to think? And the reason why I bring that up is because as much as that is a conversation, I feel like that also shouldn't be a conversation.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like
I
want us to get to a point in which
we stop caring about what people think.
Exactly. I mean, granted, my grandparents have helped me and my sister out through like so many different things, and school included, but I can't imagine what somebody else would be going through if they have a constant fear. I'm not saying my sister has this, but imagine somebody who has a constant fear of telling their parents or their grandparents, I want to do this, but I'm scared that you're not going to accept me for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely get it. It's just that, like, again, it goes back to it messing with you so much that you become scared of it.
Are you tearing up right now?
Yeah, I am.
Why are you tearing up? Your parents support you.
I know, but it just like, it applies with so many things, Go
ahead, go in.
No, because I need to stop crying real quick, so I'm going to let you finish your thought.
No, I mean, my thoughts are basically finished on that sense. I mean, I get it though. It's funny because when I started this DJ journey and, moved out to LA, I didn't necessarily have a fear of my parents rejecting what I wanted to do in life. And I thought that was such a huge blessing. Granted, my mom at one point did push me and say, hey, maybe you should get like a big boy job and something, that can help pay your rent and, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's cute. I kind of don't want to. I kind of just still want to do my own thing. And I like I told you over this past weekend in Lake Arrowhead, I feel like my family has they're so much of a unicorn type family. They're very understanding. They get what is going on. So at least for me, which I feel like I'm a little bit more like calm and collected. Like I didn't necessarily have that constant fear of what are my parents going to think about if I tell them I want to pursue this career path. I just said, hey, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep my head down, and I'm just going to keep on going until they notice what the hell I'm doing.
You know, it's interesting that you say that. Like, you said that you didn't have that fear. You didn't, you know, you just told your parents straight up what you wanted to do. But if you don't mind me asking, I know you can't fully speak for Sabrina because she's not here. Why do you think Sabrina had that fear then? Because you said your family is like a unicorn family. They're very open. Why do you think that fear was for her?
Like I said, I'm a little bit more calm and collected. Sabrina, and you know, I know Sabrina can agree with this, is that she gets a little bit more emotional than me. But
Sabrina, if you're watching this and this is not true,
and I mean, you know, and I think it just comes down to Sabrina is a much more. Sabrina and I are very passionate about what we love. Mm-hmm. It's just that I go about it in a more calm and collected. No, seriously, I go about it in a more calm and collected way, and Sabrina's emotions like flare out, which is great because I mean, this is the reason why we see people do touchdown dances, for example, or this is the reason why we see people do like 3-point, like Steph Curry do 3-point shots, and this fool's like, you know, over here like gigging as he makes the shot. Like that is like Sabrina's lane. Whereas for me, it's like if I like, let's say I make a 3-point shot, I'm over here just like, all right, cool, like I'm good. Like, I'm gonna just run back. You know what I mean? Two sides of the exact same coin, and that's how I see me and Sabrina. We were both equally emotional people. We just go about our emotions in completely different ways.
I think I'm definitely in Sabrina's lane.
Oh, you definitely are. You definitely are.
Yeah, I don't hide my emotions. I let it be known. I am working on it though.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I have I have so many people who I see on my timeline who they come to me and they say like, yo, like, how do you end up doing this? How do you end up doing that? Mm-hmm. Just freaking do it. Like, that's it. Because I feel like I've broken down this,
Broken down.
I feel like I've broken down this barrier of fear or this boundary of fear that society has boxed us all in. Because I'm not scared to take a chance anymore. And maybe it's because I'm surrounded by a lot of people who literally started with nothing and just took a chance on what they love to do. And I talk to these type of people every single day. It's, you know, it's unfortunate when you grow up in a Filipino household, because I have a couple of my friends who go through this. You grow up in a Filipino household and the family just is not accepting of what you do, how you go about things, and then it, for the most part, leads to rebellion.
Rebellion and you not being happy.
Yeah.
It leads to you not being happy, you trying to find that happiness in what you do, and it's not even something that you want to do. Yeah. And that's when, again, it goes back to your mental health. It just eats at you, and it sucks. It really does suck. And like, I hope that, like, you know, like we keep on saying that we can't fully understand how people who don't have supportive parents in their in their careers that they want to do, we can't relate to you, but we want to understand how they feel, and we can only try and understand how they feel. Yeah.
So this topic of mental health is something that Jackie is super passionate about, and you know, I was thinking, outside of like Filipino-American culture, like career is something that really messes with our mental health. And I feel like, you know, we've already touched on career in the past podcast, so I don't necessarily want to touch on this. But I mean, you've said when it comes to like Mexican-American culture, there are so many topics within mental health that you could touch on.
Oh, there's so many, like just the like stigma, how many Mexican-Americans, not even Mexican-Americans, just Mexicans in general, like how much of us are actually affected by this, and how scared we are to talk about it, how much of it's actually like kind of like a taboo thing to talk about as of recently.
I mean, I get that for sure. I mean, no one really wants to talk about their feelings.
No, absolutely not.
Especially to your family for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, like it's growing up, it was always like I know for my mom and like her brothers and her sisters, it was a very like, well, what do you have to be sad for type of thing. If they were sad or if they had something going on, it was just like, well, we can't talk about it because then you're going to get made fun of. They make my family, and I think a lot of Mexicans can relate, that our family tends to make jokes of our feelings. And when you say like, oh yeah, I'm like like the only way I can relate it to is in Spanish, where it's like if I'm in the corner hella sad and you're like, oh, mírala, like, oh, look at her, like she's so sad, like blah blah blah, like this, and it's just like you don't know what that person's going through. Mental health in Mexican culture is they want to be there for you, but at the same time they don't want to coddle you because it's just a get over it. It doesn't exist.
I'm sorry, but I hate that.
Oh, absolutely.
I hate
that too. And that's where like the frustration comes in too. It's really frustrating. But now I think a lot of this newer generation, we can finally talk about our feelings without being, judged. And our parents, because we're able to talk about our feelings and say like, hey, this is how you actually make me feel. Our parents are now adjusting to it. And then now our parents are like, hey, like, I don't like when you do this. And I feel this way when, my sisters and my brothers do this and blah, 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 blah. Because like, I can see it with my parents. My dad was a very, very closed off person when I was younger. And
I could tell.
Yeah. But
and I've known him for like 2 years, but I could tell.
Yeah. And so like, but now you wouldn't have thought that of how like, welcoming my dad is, but when I was like 5 years old, I don't remember it, but my uncles and my aunts would tell me that like he was stone cold. Like he didn't talk about his feelings. Like he never he was just really straight faced. But now my dad cries,
Yeah.
And that's a huge deal.
But where does that come from though? Like the fact that you can't necessarily talk about your feelings. Like why is it so taboo in Mexican culture?
I think for men at least, it's a machismo thing. And machismo meaning like, how do I explain machismo? Machismo is like, this is a picture of like a man, the blueprint of a man, and a man is not supposed to cry. A man is not supposed to express his feelings. You're supposed to suck it up and be a man. Mm. And that, it's so stupid. It's not the way. For a woman, she's overly sensitive. She's too extra with it. And it's just like, no, these are actual feelings that a human is supposed to have. What do you mean I'm being overly sensitive?
Yeah, because I guess on the flip side too, you could say that a man in this particular situation would be too insensitive.
Yeah, but they don't see that. And so like then if a man is too emotional and expresses his feelings, it's all like, oh well, he's like, a little too feminine. And it's just like that's so wrong to think that way. It's super wrong. And in my family particularly, I think I want to say like nobody had ever gone to therapy until like recently, Like
how recently? Like within the past couple of years?
Within the past, I want to say, what year are we in? 2021? I would say.
I think so.
Yeah. I would say 2016 was the first time someone actually in my family went to therapy. Okay. Yeah. And that was because we finally addressed our feelings, We like my grandpa had passed away, and then it was just like, oh shit, mental health is actually a real thing, and we actually feel sad. Like we're not just grieving, we're depressed.
So, wait, let me get this right. Mm-hmm. So, I forgot, but what year did your grandpa pass away again?
2014.
So it took your family 2 years to talk about your grandpa like really sit down and talk about your grandpa passing?
It was like we were so sad, and then I noticed that my mom, she was really like in a dark place because of it. And I don't mean to get emotional, but like it got to the point where she had to go see somebody, and she felt like she needed to go see somebody. And that was, I want to say, like maybe a year or two after he passed. And that's, yeah, that's how like closed off we are.
Damn, 2 years, huh?
2 years.
That's a long time.
That's a super long time, you know? And in Mexican culture, like I said, none of us really know how much it affects us until you see statistics, you know? At least 40% of Mexican Americans suffer mental health issues. And it's the stigma that, like, you know, it messes with us, and it just like ultimately it destroys us as people.
Yeah. I agree because I mean, I can't imagine, you know, for instance, when one of my best friends had passed away back in 2012, I believe, 2013. Rest in peace to Edric. But, you know, obviously when a death occurs in whether your group of friends or your family, like all of you get together and you all just kind of like reminisce and what have you. I mean, I want to say our grievances maybe lasted. I mean, I still miss my friend.
Of course.
But the big chunk of our grievances we tried to get through it within the past or within the following like month or so. Like we would just constantly talk about it because we're just like, man, like we miss this guy. And I mean, maybe it's different because it is by like a friend by friend situation.
Right.
But I mean, I can't imagine going anything longer than a month not trying to cope with, at least try to cope with your feelings. Because not to sound judgmental or anything, but it's like 2 years is such a long time, which for the most part, the grievances could have been solved within a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, the grieving will go away.
The grieving will go away. And, you know, not to put a timeline on how long someone should grieve or anything, but I always felt that the more you talk about something, the more you get it out of your system. And the more you get out of your system, the more you can live with the current situation.
The easier it is to live. Yeah, of course. And so, like, I mean, I only speak about my family because I am a part of it and I see what goes on. But a lot of our issues, not just in my immediate family, but my whole family, could be solved if everyone just talked, you know? And I know you agree with that. Because, like, you see it.
I'm keeping the camera on you, by the way. I'm not flipping it to me.
Because, no, it's a real, like, it's a legitimate thing, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, up until, I want to say, the beginning of this year, late last year, is when, you know, I finally was able to talk about things with my parents. I finally had an open communication with my parents, and it was because I went to therapy. And everyone thinks therapy is, oh, something's wrong with her. Something's wrong with him. And it's like, you know, it's just a phase type of thing.
Nah.
But it's not.
Nah, I think the way I see therapy is completely different. The way I see therapy is like you owning up to the fact that there is an issue that you need to address within yourself and you don't know how to go about it. Therefore, you're seeking out a professional who does know how to go about it and are like, hey, I need help. Fix me.
Yeah, please.
Help fix me, fam.
Please, I'm asking you to fix me. And I think going and acknowledging that you want to go to therapy and you want to fix yourself is a brave thing to do.
Yeah.
It's one I have so much respect now for people who just go to therapy constantly, you know? And I don't go anymore because, you know, my therapist was like, hey, you know, you're good. You know, you're rocking. If you need to come back, come back. But until then, you're good. And it wasn't until I went and I started talking about, this is how I feel. I cried every session. I mean, I called you after every session and I was just in freaking tears and my eyes were red. But it was because it was good. It felt good to finally talk to somebody. And the resources are there. And I think that's another thing too about mental health within like the Mexican American culture is that we think that we have to sneak around and we have to like, you know, hide the fact that we're doing this because then people are, ¿qué van a pensar las personas? That means like, what are people going to think? You know? And it's just, you don't have to sneak around. The resources are there. There's like another thing that says like that it basically, it won't make sense. And it's like, okay, because it only makes sense in Spanish, but it's Spanish. Like, so basically what it says is like the dirty laundry is done at home. Okay. And like, you're not supposed to talk about things outside of the house. You're not supposed to talk about your issues outside of the house. You're supposed to solve it here. But how can we solve it here when we don't talk about it here? When we don't address that mental health is an actual issue. So it's a very seesaw type of thing.
It's a very weird way to go about it, if I'm being honest, because if you're not talking about it, if you're not allowed to talk about your issues outside of the house, and you're actually not talking about it inside of the house, you're just left to talk about it within yourself, but you're not going to find an answer that way.
No, absolutely.
It doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. And like the reason I keep on looking at my phone too is because I researched this. Like I researched Mexican Americans and mental health in the Latino and in the Latino community. And it's like right here, it says like 34% of Hispanic adults with mental illness receive treatment each year compared to the U.S. average of 45%.
Oh my God. That's a huge jump.
That's a huge jump. And that's just like, that's just because there, again, it goes back to not knowing how they can receive treatment. And it goes to language barriers, or it goes to like, you know, the fear of like, how are people going to perceive me?
Yeah, and but that's another stupid ass thing that I mean, I feel like not only your culture, but even my culture has to get rid of. Like, it doesn't fucking matter what other people think.
Absolutely. I think like that's the biggest thing. And I'm still trying to get over that, you know, I'm still trying to do it myself. That who gives a shit about people think about what you do in life, your mental health, and what you do to help yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're living your life.
Yeah, no one else is living it. So why does it matter if you have to go to, or not have to, but if you feel like you have to go to a
professional?
A professional who can like actually help you with your issues. Like, you know, I mean, this is the same reason why people get freaking like, you know, marriage counselors and all that shit. Like, it's literally the same thing. So why is it when it comes to like your own personal well-being, like you don't want to go through some sort of counselor?
Yeah, it all goes back to like, what are people gonna think? Or, oh, está loca, like you're like, she's crazy, or he's crazy, or this and that. It's like, no, like, and like I said, now there's so many people, and I thank my sister-in-law Denise for being that person in like at least my immediate family, like her, my brother, and my parents and me. She has changed my family so much.
In what way?
In the way that she actually like has told us like, and I'm gonna put it in like not her words, but I'm gonna put it in my own words, like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? Like, y'all don't talk about your feelings? Like, what is this? Like, she changed us.
Oh wait, so
like,
I'm not the only one who shared those sentiments.
No. No, I know it because Denise has like helped us, like, hey, like, this is a healthy way to talk about things. Like, and
sick.
No, absolutely. Like, this is a healthy way to talk about things. And, you know, a very like, what was it? What's the word I'm trying to look for? Like, she helped us communicate a lot better. Denise has helped us communicate a lot better. That's why when I talk to my parents, I hear her voice in the back of my head, like, say, like, Jackie, like, say it this way, because you don't need them to understand. You want them to try and understand. Because you can't ever make somebody understand you. You can always have them try to understand you. You can always let people know how they made you feel or how their words made you feel, but not, because no one can ever change the way that you take something. I could tell you something and you could take it a completely different way than how I meant it. But no one can ever take that away from you. You feel that way, and that's a very valid feeling. So when, like, let's say I'm talking to somebody, regardless of if it's my parents or not, and that's why like when I tell you things and I get emotional about things and you're like, hey, like, it's okay, I get it. I say, thank you for making my feelings feel valid.
Yeah, I'm just like, calm down. Like, literally yesterday I had just asked her, like, why are you crying over your car getting dented? First of all, it wasn't your fault. But she's over here like flaring so emotionally. I'm just like calm down.
Yeah, I'm a very
it's not that big of a deal.
I'm a very emotional person, and like, you know, yeah, I'm not like sorry for it, and I don't feel like I don't have to be sorry for it, because that's just a huge thing in, you know, the Mexican-American culture, that you feel like you have to be sorry about things, and you don't.
Yeah. I mean, you don't ever have to, honestly. I just feel like when it comes to your emotions and your energy and all that stuff that people like to talk about, oh, you better protect it. No, like, seriously, you seriously better protect it, because nobody else is going to protect your energy the way you do. Like, you know, if you involve yourself in activities that make you feel negative, and if you involve yourself in things that make you feel positive, like, well, it's going to go either way, whatever you surround yourself with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and these are just like parts of all my experiences with mental health and seeing mental health within my family, and, you know, and there's so much more that goes into it. But like, I don't know if you feel the same way as, like, I know you said that you don't really think that it's as, I wouldn't say, I guess I could say it is bad in Mexican culture regarding mental health, but I don't know if it's, you know, this bad or even addressed in Filipino culture.
I mean, see, my family is very vocal. That's the thing.
But that's the thing too. Like, my family is very vocal in regards to, like, you know, we want to, like, we'll say what we want to say, you know, but yeah, we still have these mental issues.
If I'm being fair, and if your family members are hearing this, like, I don't think that the issues are addressed.
Yeah.
And I don't think they are actually, like, spoken out on, because I'll keep it funky. If there is somebody that my family does not like, whether it is a, let's say my cousin, for example, is, let's say he or she is, like, dating a girl or a guy, right? Whoever they're dating, right? If my family does not like this person, my family is going to say something, like, right away. And that person is obviously going to know, like, we don't like you. And that's kind of just up to the person to, like, stay or not, right?
Well, thank God I didn't get that when I...
Well, yeah, you didn't get that. But my family is extremely vocal about that, and they will keep it just funky with you.
They keep it 100. Your family does keep it 100. So I'm, whoo.
Yeah, they keep it funky. That's
doing
why
the sign of the cross right now, because I didn't get that.
That's why even with even with my parents too, it's like I can be open about certain things. Like, you'll see me on Twitch streams and I'll say things that are very inappropriate, and people are like, your mom's here. It's like, my mom's a grown-ass woman and I'm a grown-ass man, so why do we have to have baby conversations about shit when we can have grown-ass like, this is like some real-life shit.
Yeah, you do say some, like, really wild shit.
Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, if y'all ever been on my Twitch streams, we can talk about sex, we can talk about sexuality, we can talk about all of that. We can talk about political views, but the point of the matter is that we are grown-ass adults, and we know how to talk to each other without being disrespectful. And I think that's like the key to all of it, because I'll say this, I don't think my sister's ever been disrespectful to my parents. I don't think I've ever been disrespectful to my parents. As you said, maybe the way it was taken was probably disrespectful, which is also totally valid at the same time.
Yeah.
But because we've always been so open and vocal with each other throughout, since the day I was born, since the day my sister was born, it's a lot easier to understand each other now, because we know that, okay, maybe it's a little bit out of emotion. Okay, maybe it's just a little bit because Nico's lasing, Nico's a little drunk. Maybe it's just a little bit of that, and we don't take it personal anymore because we've been so vocal about things over the past years. So now it's like, yeah, if I say something, it's not because I'm trying to be disrespectful. It's because I'm trying to get my point across for you to possibly understand what I'm going through.
I get that.
And that's that. I mean, shoot, talking back kind of has its own beast. It also has like two sides of its coin, because talking back could be you standing up for yourself, but it could also be you being disrespectful toward your parents, which I'm like, look, bruh, I'm a human being too. I have my personal choices. I have my own personal opinions. Let me just share them with you. And just because we don't share the exact same opinions, whether it be political, religious, sexuality, or anything in general, doesn't mean that we have to be disrespectful.
Yeah, no, and oftentimes it is taken as disrespect. And I think this our generation is just, we're a lot more aware. We're a lot more, and they, like, a lot of people say like, oh, like your generation's too soft, your generation's too sensitive, it's like, no, it's just that we're not taking anybody's shit anymore. We're just actually addressing things that need to be fixed within our society, within our cultures, within every possible thing.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are changing it, because the way that you guys came up is not always the right way. I mean, it
definitely is not. I mean, back then you got slapped with the chancla or the chinelas.
Yeah.
Whether you're Mexican or Filipino, you understood either or.
This is alleged. This is alleged. But, my aunts and my mom, allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly a lot of times right now, but my grandpa allegedly wouldn't use the chancla. Allegedly, he would use the TV cord.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and it's just like, that's not okay. Like, what made y'all think that this was okay?
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about that, those alleged type situations where, people, I'm going to keep it funky. People got hit with belts. People got hit with extension cords. People got hit with chinelas or chanclas or what have you. Or literally, just got hit. Like, what? I get that. Like, I don't think you should ever lay your hands on another human being, especially if you're trying to discipline somebody, because at the end of the day, that discipline comes back to you and how you raise them.
Exactly.
Like, that has nothing to do with you hitting them or anything.
No, and then like a lot of the older generation will be like, oh, well, like, I got slapped around a few times and I didn't end up like bad, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, homie, I'm sorry. You ended up with mental issues. That's what you ended up with.
Yeah, because you don't know how getting slapped around like that, especially when you're young, how that's going to affect your mental like later down the line. Like,
exactly.
It's so ridiculous to me. In that regard, I totally agree that, I mean, we as a generation are a lot more aware about that type of situation should not be handled in that way.
Absolutely.
But you and I have had conversations where overall, I do think that that the sensitivity level for a lot of human beings is extremely high.
Yes.
It is very high, and it is to the point where it is more times uncontrolled and also, I guess, without reason or experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you experienced getting hit, so on and so forth, I get it. If you've experienced things that affect you in a way in which it would provoke you to be emotional, I get it. I still feel like for the most part, though, that especially since the newer generations, they are getting exposed to so many different things at one time. Again, going down the list of like sexuality, genders, politics, so on and so forth, that for somebody who is younger, it is a little bit more difficult for them to get control of everything that is going on and get like a very deep understanding of everything that is going on.
Because everything's being thrown at them so quickly?
Yes, exactly. Because everything is getting thrown at them so quickly. So, you can go through an entire news feed and get super emotional about it if you are a younger person. And I feel like it's because you also see other people getting emotional about it too. And so when you are younger, you are in this position where you're like, well, I'm trying to find myself and I feel a certain way about this and I see other people are feeling this way. Maybe this is really how I feel. I feel like it is still a responsibility for our youth and for even people our age too, like mid-20s, even like 30, so on. I feel like it is our responsibility to make sure that our emotions and sensitivity level toward things don't get out of hand and don't become too rash to where the rationality of our thoughts become, I guess, watered down.
Yeah, I
get what I'm
you.
saying?
I get what you're trying to say. Yeah, and it's just also so that
like I don't want our sorry to cut you off,
Yeah,
but
no.
I don't want the emotional aspect of things to override the logic of things.
Yeah, to just trigger responses as to like, being too worked up about it.
Exactly.
I get it.
Exactly.
I get you. And I can see where that concern does come from, because I do see it sometimes for certain, people and certain topics. I do see it. So I get you. It is overwhelming to see when you have so many things that you are being it's overwhelming when you have so many things being thrown at you, so many different topics, so many different subjects, so many things that you have to adapt to. And like as a younger adult now, and like these teenagers and kids, I can only imagine like them just trying to process everything too.
Because think about it. If let's say a child or a teenager, let's say like a 14 or 15-year-old is put in a situation in which they take care of their younger siblings, for example, right? That is a physical responsibility that you are bestowing upon for a 16-year-old who is simply just supposed to learn about things and also experience life and enjoy youth, right? But with the rise of social media is kind of putting an expectation for our kids, or society is putting an expectation for our kids and the newer generation to have the emotional and mental balance to juggle all of these topics that are going on. And so basically, what I'm trying to say is this, and let me try to paint this as best as possible, right?
Okay.
If you're a teenager and you got to take care of your younger siblings, and you got to like cook and clean for them, and you got to take out the trash, and you kind of have to like act like a mom, that's a lot of shit that you got to go through, right?
Yeah. That's
all right. Yeah. Cool. So you got that, right? So imagine you are still that 15, 16-year-old, and you got to juggle between, oh, well, this just happened today. Oh, well, we still care about this topic that happened last week. Oh, I'm still fighting with like my sexuality. Oh, now we have pronouns coming in and out, and we're trying to figure this out.
It's just a lot.
It's a lot, and it's overwhelming. So the same way, if like, let's say I ask you to do like 300 things, and I ask you to do one more thing, that one more thing could tip you off the edge and be like, fuck all this. I don't want to do this shit, right? The emotions just start flaring out. So imagine I throw you like hella topics, and I throw you one more topic, and that one more topic just pushes you off the edge, and like that's when all the emotions flare out, and that's where like the emotional aspect overrides the logical aspect.
Yeah, I get you now. I understand it
You
more.
get it?
Yeah,
You get it now?
I understand you more now that you said that, and it does suck for the youth that is going through that. I really hope that they become aware of what is actually going on, and that because that's no kid's responsibility to take care of their siblings.
Yeah, the same way it is no kid's responsibility to have an opinion on every single topic that gets flushed to them.
Yeah, and it's honestly sometimes it's like you don't want to have an opinion about things. You just want to fucking live life. I
just want to fucking play Pokemon. Come on, man.
Okay, that's you. That's him. But like, yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't have to have an opinion about everything. Sometimes you don't have to be so woke about everything, and it's just it's a lot. There's so much going on in the world, and not to say that you don't care. It's just that there's a lot of other things that people go through, and you sometimes can't care about everything. You can't care about everything all the time. There's so much other stuff going on that I don't have to care about everything.
Oh, man.
Am I right or
You're 100% right. You are 100% right.
Thank you. I get the round of applause.
That was probably some of the realest shit I've heard in a minute. You can't care about everything.
You can't. Like, who cares? Literally, it's just so much sometimes. It's so much it takes so much energy to care about everything.
It does. But, just like balancing your chores, balancing your work career, your life career, your relationships, what have you, it is the same thing. Because we're talking about it, it is the same thing when you balance all the things that you carry about. Jesus Christ.
Carry about.
See, look at that. I had like this whole clip ready and I just fucked it up that way. You have to balance everything that you care about. And, some things get more prioritized than other things. And some things you care about more and other things you care about less. And it is perfectly okay. But you can't expect everybody to care about everything all the freaking time.
No, absolutely. I 100% agree. Because it's hard. It's hard balancing. It's hard trying to figure out how to balance things. It's so stressful sometimes. It's so stressful.
It definitely is.
And then it's so draining. It's stressful, then it becomes draining, and then it becomes like it just becomes like this weight on your shoulder. It's just like, okay, what do I actually want to prioritize? But then you like feel bad if you don't prioritize something over here, and this commitment, you get so caught up with trying to do everything that you forget about things here and there. It's like, I did this and I try to prioritize this, but this was actually a priority, and it's tough. It's rough.
It definitely is tough. It's kind of interesting now that we're talking about this, because I just had DJ Mary Jane for the Nico Blitz podcast, like literally recorded maybe like a couple hours ago. And I was talking to her about how does she balance out DJing and Twitch and in real life relationships, whether it be like, intimate relationships or like family relationships, just literally everything, right? How do you balance everything? Mm-hmm. And similar to how I would answer it is just schedule. You schedule your life based off what you need to prioritize. So for instance, like I will wake up around 8, 9 o'clock every day. I'll make sure I crank out all my radio stuff between 9 and hopefully by like 12 or 1.
Mm-hmm.
From 1 till about 2 or 3 is when I'll do like whether I do my Instagram clips or TikTok or Twitch or what have you. And then whatever work that I need to finish off, I get done by like 5, 6 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Maybe by the weekend. If it is the weekend, then, I'm obviously going to have to DJ at night. So that's me scheduling my life, the things that I got going on in the physical world in real life. I guess what I'm trying to say is there a way in which we could learn how to balance the things that we care about as well? Like with everything that we got going on. So we get topics thrown at us, right? Mm-hmm. We have family stuff to worry about. We just literally have errands that we need to take care of, because this is all part of the things that we need to prioritize in our lives. Like, is it also possible to schedule things for our mental health so that we're not overwhelmed during numerous hours of the day?
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people are trying to figure out. I mean, I know, again, I go back to Denise, my sister-in-law. I know that she schedules, like, during the pandemic, or, well, we still are in the pandemic, but, like, in the, like, very middle of the pandemic when she was working from home, I remember her saying that she took, like, 15 minutes out of her day just to be outside and meditate and just be outside and not talk to anybody, and just... because that's what helped her with her mental health for that period of time.
So Denise be floating outside.
Yeah, she just be floating. Oh my God. But like, oh my gosh. But yeah, even if it's just like prioritizing your mental health and saying no to things. Can we just normalize saying no to, like, I don't want to go out.
Amen.
I don't want to be social today.
Amen.
I don't want to be social. It takes way too much energy to be social sometimes.
Amen.
Like make that a normal thing. Like, don't judge your friends, and don't be an asshole for, like, making your friends feel bad if they don't want to go out. That's prioritizing your mental health. Saying no. That's the clip.
That is the clip.
I felt so strongly about that one. I hope
y'all caught that bar. That's some real shit, though. That is some absolute real shit, though, babe. You know, I do have something to say now. What? I do have something to say now, because
he's rolling up his sleeves, guys.
Yeah, y'all see it. But you've hung out with my friends, whether it be in real life or also, digitally or Zoom or what have you.
Yes.
And I don't know if my friends know this, but the reason why I do, like, I need a break from them. And when I mean my friends, I mean my friends from back home, the people who I grew up with, the people who I've known for years, like decades. Literally over a decade. I mean, we're creeping on like
2 decades.
Actually, it was just our 10-year graduation anniversary. So yeah, like, we're creeping on 2 decades now, right? But
damn.
Yeah, it's been a while. But what was I saying? So when it came to, like, my group of friends, like, peer pressure is huge. Mm-hmm. It is so huge. And it comes back to, hey, Nico, don't be a bitch.
Yeah.
Hey, Nico, you gonna drink this? Like, all right. Oh, you don't want to? All right, don't be a bitch. Oh, man, Nico, you're a little bit too LA now, huh? And I'm like...
You know what? Yeah, I am.
Yeah, no, but that's what I started to do. That's literally what I started to do. I started to say, yeah, you know what? I am more LA. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, like, I don't
Keep
care.
That shit. I don't give a fuck anymore.
I don't care. Who gives a shit? Not me.
And the more, and to me owning up to, like, yeah, I am more LA in this particular situation, right? Like, to me saying, like, yeah, I am more LA right now, meaning, like, yeah, like, I've grown past this peer pressure that I've been accustomed to since I, like, left the Bay. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. We're all still friends. We're all still good. But there was that fear of me saying like, oh, well, maybe I do have to drink a little bit more. Maybe I do have to get fucked up. Maybe I do have to do a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that.
I'm tired of drinking.
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
but I'm saying like maybe I do have to do a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that in order to continue to be accepted by my friends, when in reality, my friends accept me for who I am. It wasn't peer pressure that they placed on me. It was pressure that I placed on myself because I didn't trust that they would still accept me after my decisions, which I'm happy to say my friends do. So
and that they are more understanding of it now.
Yeah, because, you know, I see where I'm going. My friends see where I'm going. So it's kind of like, well, you know,
You can't really be mad at it.
You can't be mad at that at all. So even from a friend aspect, because a lot of my friends back home are Filipino. We got one black guy, one white guy, one half white Filipino guy, and, you know, a couple other people. But for the most part, we're all Filipino, right? And I'm not sure if this happens with other groups of friends who are Filipino or just friends in general. Like, I know friends in general, there is a shit ton of peer pressure that gets put on you. It's just, you know, you have to figure out a way to combat that and own up to what you really want to do in life. I'm not even talking about a career, whether you don't want to drink or whether you don't want to go out or whether you just want to stay home and kick back and watch some Netflix or whether you just want to sit down and play some damn Pokemon for like all night. Like, whatever the case is, you also should not allow your friends to make decisions for you. And you also shouldn't feel the pressure of, well, if I don't do this, maybe my friends won't accept me. If they don't accept you, then they're really not your fucking friends.
Yeah, and who needs that?
Exactly.
Like, and I think I started prioritizing my mental health in a different way by saying no to going out a lot more recently. Like, oh
yeah, you have.
Yeah, I really have. And I'll say, like, I used to like want to go to every gig that Nico did. Because I wanted to be that supportive girlfriend. I still do. But he knows that I support him. He knows that I'm proud of him. But sometimes it's just way too much to go out and to be a DJ's girlfriend.
Yeah, and I straight up told you, I told Jackie, everybody, like, I told her, hey, you don't have to go out to every single one of my gigs, because even for me sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming when every Saturday I got back-to-back gigs, which consist of like 5 hours of DJing. And if I feel a little overwhelmed, more than likely you feel overwhelmed, and I don't want that to be an occurrence. I told her, I said, hey, go out with me when you just want to go out and have fun, not because you feel like you need to support me. Support comes in so many different ways. Support comes in like a literal text message just saying like, hey, everything good? Yeah, everything's cool. Like, it doesn't come, support isn't always you have to show up. I got homies back home who like, they're like, hey, like, you know, I'm going to come out to your gigs. All right, cool. And if they don't come out, like, hey, bro, I'm sorry. Like, you know, I got caught up with like so-and-so. Like, is there any other time we could like meet up? Probably not. All right, cool. We're going to meet up like next time. Bet. So again, I feel like even in that sense, babe, that was like some pressure that you put on yourself because that was the only way you saw fit as like supporting me, you know, which isn't the case.
No, definitely. I definitely put that pressure on myself for many different reasons. But as of lately, I've been telling you straight up, like, hey, I don't want to go out because I want to, you know, I want to stay home or I just want to protect my mental health. Yeah. It's just too much sometimes.
Yeah. And just, you know, I mean, now this is getting into a partner type of talk, right? It's like, well, you know, it's easy to tell your partner what is going on. And you just have to keep it funky with your partner. Yeah. Like, hey, like, this is my career. This is what I do. This doesn't necessarily mean that you're into like all of this, which is 100% fine. But you also have to understand that my job is going to require me to do A, B, and C. In my particular situation, it's like my job is going to require me to be out late nights all the time.
Yeah.
Constantly playing music, constantly like meeting people, and like partake in like some drinking here or there. But at the end of the day, it's like if you trust me and I trust you, then we good to go. You could stay home. There would be nights where I even tell Jackie, I'm like, go out. Like,
but I don't have like, if you guys want to be my friend, can you just hit me up, please?
Oh my goodness.
Can you please hit me up and I'll go out with you? Because I need friends other than Nico.
LOL.
So that'd be great.
You definitely have friends.
So if anyone wants to go out, have a drink, that'd be great.
There is a friend app, you know what I mean?
But I don't want to get kidnapped.
You're not going to it's a friend app.
What happens if I get kidnapped?
You're not going to get kidnapped.
I want to like go out with people that I already like know. I don't want to go on a friend app. That's hella embarrassing if I have to go on a friend app. I'm just like asking people if they want to go out and have like a drink or two, because you tell me to go out and I'm like, with who?
Just go out. I mean, honestly, babe, I'm even, you know me, I'm the type of person I can go out by myself.
Yeah, that's
I'm chilling.
you. I don't go out by myself because I'm scared. I get nervous about what people will think if they see me alone, if I go eat by myself or if I have a drink by myself.
Oh, and here we go. We're back to the topic. Why do you care about what people think?
Because I've grown up that way. And I'm getting over it.
As long as you're getting over it.
I'm trying to get over it.
As long as you're trying to get over it.
I'm trying to get over it, sir.
Okay. That's fine.
If anyone wants to go out and get drinks, please hit me up.
Yeah, hit her up at J_Quillen.
Yeah. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram. I'm not gonna give you my phone number unless you have it already. So
yeah, facts.
And then if you're my friend, then you can have my phone number and then we go out like regularly.
There you go. And you can befriend me at Nico aka Blitz on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and all those sorts of things.
Yes.
And if you guys do have any other things that you'd like for us to talk about, at Mexipino Podcast on Instagram or mexipinopodcast@gmail.com.
Yes. Oh, we didn't. Are we gonna?
I was literally leading into that.
Oh, sorry.
Before we head out, we are talking about a food spot that we would highly recommend.
I honestly don't even know what food spot he's gonna bring up.
You know what's funny is that I totally forgot that it was going to be like my time to actually bring up a food spot.
So you were hoping that I had a spot?
No. I'm gonna figure out a food spot right here, right now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I got it. So
we didn't have the sound effect, guys, so I had to do it on my own.
Oh, what was the?
No.
Oh yeah. Is this a food spot that we both been to, or just a food spot I recommend? I forgot.
So you've been to food spots without me?
Duh. I mean, duh.
I'm out. Bye.
What kind of question was that? Of course I have.
I'm going to let him just finish up the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see me drop my headphones. All right, bye, guys.
Jesus Christ.
No,
do
I'm
not
joking.
leave.
I'm joking.
Let's see. Oh, okay. So there's this Mexican joint that I be always ordering from Postmates.
Who put you on it?
You. Okay, well, because I wasn't going to go with the Filipino choice that I've been to by myself multiple times or with friends.
Here in LA?
No.
Oh, I was about to say, here in LA, you kept on telling me there's no good Filipino food spots.
First of all, there is no good Filipino food spots over here in LA. I'm just going to say that. And as soon as I took you over to the Bay Area, you were like, oh yeah, this is fire.
Okay, I just went to 7 Mile, had sizzling sisig.
Which was absolutely fire. They don't have sizzling sisig over here in Los Angeles. Anyways, there's this Mexican spot called Que Ricos. Now, no, if you are in LA, this is not like hot Cheeto infused burritos mixed with, I don't know, some random crazy concoction. This is literally just some really good freaking Mexican food. I always get the carne asada burrito. I always get some chips and salsa on the side. And I always get, well, not always, maybe like 50% of the time, get their horchata.
Horchata? It's horchata.
Well, horchata. Yeah. Holy shit.
Oh my God. I'm sick.
But Que Rico's QUE space RICOS.
It's in Hollywood.
It's in Hollywood, and it's just a food truck. It's just a truck.
Is it really just a food truck?
I think it's just a food truck. I always order from Postmates.
Yeah, we've never actually been to this place, guys. We only ordered it through Postmates, so it could be just a food truck.
But it's fire is all I'm saying.
I think I know what I'm going to talk about next podcast.
Which is what? Are we talking about food?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I guess we're talking about food on the next podcast.
No. I meant like the food restaurant that I want to.
Oh, okay. Well, episode 3, we don't know what the hell we're going to talk about, but we are going to bleed into that, and we're going to think about it over this next week or so.
Yeah. Shouts
out to each and every one of you, all the subscribers and all the followers and everybody who has downloaded a piece of the Mexipino podcast. Special shout out to my boy D Nix, man. D Nix hit me with a message, and he was like, hey, bro, I listened to you and Jay Quillen's podcast, Mexipino Podcast, throughout my whole car ride. That shit was fire.
Also, shout out to Mexipino Meals. Very nice guy. He messaged us, and he actually started his own podcast too, I believe too.
Yeah.
And it was actually very fitting. Mexipino Meals, Mexipino Podcast. So yeah. Shout out to you.
Shouts out to y'all, man. And if you want a special shout out, make sure you hit us up. Once again, my name is Nico Blitz.
My name is Jackie Ramirez.
And this is the Mexipino Podcast. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Next time. Adios.